Regardless of the marketing aspirations that the company you run or work for has, at some point a conversation will need to be had or a decision made around the marketing model it wishes to utilize. And in this video, we have a look at the three main types of marketing models, which are an internal team, the use of an external agency, or a combination of the two. Now, the first model we're going to look at is the traditional internal employee-based marketing team or marketing department. Now, the great benefit of having an internal team is that the IP of the organization and the culture becomes part of their workflow, and equally they can contribute back into the culture of the organization, which helps with things like staff retention and also the general collaboration between teams. Equally, if the internal team is actually based in close proximity of other departments, it does make communication and access a lot simpler than in the case of an external agency, for example, which may be either interstate or potentially an international agency, which can make contact a little tricky. Now, consequently, an internal team is going to be more expensive by way of the cold cost or the hard cost of facilitating and curating that team. I mean, if the marketing department has a senior marketing person, in all likelihood, they're starting at around the 120K mark potentially. And in all likelihood, they're going to need somebody around them, at least one or two people around them who are able to support some of the ideas and the programs that they're looking to roll out. So it's going to be a big ask, particularly for smaller businesses that don't have huge budgets, to be able to put together a really comprehensive marketing team when you're looking at somewhere between 100 and 120 grand to even just get started for somebody who is quite good at what they do. However, that being said, the value of quality culture and the ability to make projects and execution easier in the long term with somebody who understands the business might be something that is worth considering beyond just the hard cost. Now, the second model we're going to look at is the agency model, which is essentially using the services of an external business to provide the marketing services that your company may need. Now, the benefit here is that the overall marketing cost in terms of what you're paying for, in all likelihood will be lower than the costs associated with an internal team. However, the consequences are that the nature of agencies can be quite disposable, and the ability to build IP and culture with an agency is a little trickier. That being said, if the relationship is strong and communication is solid, then there's no reason why this can't be just as sustainable as would be the case with an internal team. The other benefit of an agency is that you potentially get a greater range of skills for your spend. So instead of having one or two subject matter experts in a team, you get access to a pool of resources that may have a higher cost per hour than an employee, but more can be done for a lower time commitment than will be the case with an internal team. But again, the consequence is that their ability to be part of the team ongoing and help evolve the culture and internal engagement in your business may be compromised. And then of course, the third model is a combination of the two, potentially having an internal team of a number of resources, but then having the assistance of an agency to be able to handle any overflow or additional projects that arise that may be slightly outside the skill set of your current internal team. Now, this could be as much as, potentially a full-time role type situation where an agency is doing a lot of work very frequently for a long period of time, or it may be more of a short-term arrangement based on seasonal projects or, an influx of work that may have just rolled in. So this particular model seems to be the most common in the organizations that we work with and that we discuss marketing with, and it provides businesses with greater flexibility in terms of what their marketing spend is, but also what their ability to produce can be. Now, in terms of what is best suited to what kind of business, that largely comes down to marketing appetite and expectations of the company, whether it's Red Bull or whether it's a little independent accountant around the corner. If your objective is to dominate your industry and have a huge profile and be top of mind when anybody considers anything in your marketplace, then in all likelihood you're going to have an amazing team of internal marketing resources who are just killing it all the time, maybe with some assistance from an agency from time to time. I mean, I think of brands like Red Bull that are just everywhere all the time, and even in areas that you wouldn't expect them to be. I don't know this for a fact, but I suspect they wouldn't use a lot of agency work unless it's a very specific project that they can't facilitate internally. Then we have a look at the other end of the spectrum, which might be the small business that's got somewhere between 5 and maybe 15 employees. They're unlikely to have a few $100,000 to spend on an internal team, and they may look to have more access to an agency and utilize the skills of an external agency more frequently because they have a little bit more control in how they spend their marketing money. And then of course, the businesses in between, which is probably about 90% of businesses between Red Bull and the 5-person accounting firm, will have some combination of the two based on, again, what their marketing expectations are. Now, larger businesses that just have an organic flow of growth and don't seem to need to do too much for business to continue to improve and increase and evolve, may be happy enough just to have a small team that keeps things steady. On the other hand, there may be businesses that want significant growth or a major change, in which case they may be looking to utilize the services of an agency more frequently, whether that's permanently or periodically, in order to get their goals achieved and get the marketing output that they need. Essentially, when it comes down to the marketing model, it's about the marketing expectation, the marketing appetite, also risk appetite, but also an ability to be able to curate the investment in marketing versus the expected return. When it comes down to which marketing model to choose, it comes down to marketing expectations as well as, to a large degree, risk appetite. There aren't too many guarantees with marketing, so any dollar value associated with it needs to be measured up against how greatly a decision maker believes in the ability to achieve the outcome, whether that is fully internal, fully external, or the hybrid model. But hopefully that's given you something to think about if you're thinking about putting a marketing department or team together for your organization. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye on our social media channels for more marketing tips and suggestions.